Hello, in this video I'm going to discuss what a snapshot or insight looks like of a target of abuse living with a person that may be displaying symptoms of a personality disorder such as narcissism, antisocial personality disorder, domestic violence behaviours or manipulation behaviours, etc. Most of the labels I mention are sometimes interchangeable, and I refer to this in terms of the abuser or master manipulator utilising and demonstrating various behaviours and characteristics from those titles or labels I just mentioned. I'm going to discuss a fictitious case study of a woman by the name of Ivory. For this example case study, I'm going to use the female perspective. That isn't to say that there aren't males experiencing abuse from their female partner or person known to them. Abuse can happen in either gender. It can also happen in same-sex relationships. However, my example will be as mentioned. So, Ivory is a woman in her early 30s. Ivory used to work as a sales assistant. She's now a stay-at-home mum. Dorian, her husband, works as a bricklayer. They have been married for over 10 years. They have 2 small children. The first 4 years of marriage were bliss, but things started to fall apart when Dorian was laid off from his full-time employment. He currently has part-time contract employment. Ivory and Dorian went from being in love and inseparable to being distant and resentful. Dorian became slowly over time abusive, demeaning, disrespectful, aggressive, condescending and withdrawn towards Ivory. Each day, Ivory would spend hours doing chores, buying groceries, cleaning the house, doing the washing, feeling exhausted but proud of her achievements in the home. Then Dorian would come home from work, walk in through the front door to their home, hardly making any eye contact with Ivory, being cold and basically ignoring her, saying a brief hello, bending down momentarily to greet their 2 small children. As soon as he had finished his brief and non-emotional greetings, he would make his way into his home office where he would spend the next 2 hours, or if not more, on the computer, surfing the internet, reading through the day's news site, or playing computer games. Ivory would be left to deal with the young children, prepare dinner, make last-minute finishes to the housework, such as folding laundry and unstacking the dishwasher. Ivory longed for conversation or any type of communication with Dorian, as she had spent most of the day on her own with only the young children for company. As soon as she would attempt to speak to Dorian, he would become aggressive and create an argument to avoid having any communication or exchange with Ivory. Dorian would show no signs of kindness unless he wanted something from Ivory. Ivory became confused, not understanding what was going on or why Dorian was behaving so aggressively, uncaring and demeaning toward her. Ivory would then ask Dorian why he was treating her so meanly, and Dorian would respond with more abuse, putting her down, making fun of what housework she did do, tell her that he didn't want to eat the dinner she just spent 2 hours preparing, complaining that he worked hard the whole day and she got it easy staying at home free as a bird while he had been out in the real world working for the both of them, and how unappreciated he felt he was. Ivory was in total shock, disbelief, not really understanding what Dorian was saying, as that was not what she thought. Ivory would think inside her head and try to make sense of her reality. She would say something like, "Hang on a minute, I woke up at 6:30 a.m, made breakfast, put the laundry to wash, unstacked the dishwasher, vacuumed and mopped the floors, got the children up and ready for the day, went food shopping, went to the post office, put petrol in the car, prepared meals, paid the bills, made the bed, tidied the house, and Dorian is telling me that I haven't done anything of use or benefit? Huh? Over time, Dorian would repeat this type of conversation and scenario over and over until Ivory began to believe that her contribution to the household and looking after the children was menial and non-substantial at all compared to Dorian, who had worked to provide for them all. She felt worthless, her self-esteem was low, and she often felt depressed. Over time, Ivory became more and more depressed, her self-esteem diminished, and she felt alone and misunderstood. On several occasions, Ivory tried to approach friends and family and share her experiences of her relationship with Dorian, but her family would minimize or discount her feelings, telling her that she had it good and that she was over-exaggerating her feelings about feeling abused, hurt, put down, disrespected, and demeaned. Her family and friends had no concept of how bad it really was every day. Ivory felt worthless and unloved. No one she turned to gave her any real validation or support. They didn't see behind closed doors what she was living every single day for the past few years. The put-downs, the intimidation, the constant harassment, the mind games, the lies, the threats, the bullying, the emotional pain, the constant harassment, and all this from the very man she married. The man who promised to respect her and cherish her. It was as if her whole reality had been turned upside down. She didn't know who she really was anymore, but she knew Dorian had changed. He went from being loving, caring, helpful, considerate, admiring and respecting Ivory to being withdrawn, mean, hurtful, manipulating her with mind games, competing in conversations and discussions to prove he was right about anything and everything, whether he was or wasn't, and if he wasn't proved not right about any topic, he would punish Ivory, emotionally sulking, putting her down, attacking every comment, opinion or thought she had, distorting her reality of any event until she would be so exhausted from trying to explain or defend herself. These types of conversations would go on for hours, around and around in circles until she felt like she was losing her mind. Dorian engaging her in a setup of her having to explain, defend herself, and he attacking every answer to discredit her explanations and placing blame on her. Ivory would eventually just give up, fall to the ground and cry and cry. No one to witness her ordeal, the pain, the blow, the emotional and verbal abuse that she, on a daily basis, endured. The only reason Ivory still endures this way of living is because she feels there isn't anywhere to turn to. She went to several professionals for help, but she felt they weren't sufficiently trained in the area of psychological abuse and domestic violence and the emotional abuse dynamics. They didn't fully understand the intricacies at play. They would tell her things like she was codependent, enabling the abuser, secretly wanting to be abused, didn't respect herself. Her parents had been controlling as a child, and on the list went of reasons why Ivory still stayed and was responsible for being with and choosing to stay with an abuser. How could Ivory be responsible for the abusive behaviour of another person? Ivory wasn't being beaten or physically hurt, but she was being torn down emotionally, walked all over and destroyed emotionally and psychologically almost on a daily basis. Even though she would stand up to Dorian and defend her reality, and she had no one to witness, no one to stand by her side and say, enough, this isn't right, there are other ways to live, you don't deserve to live like this. No, there was no one to validate and support her reality. So Ivory stayed where she was, exhausted, broken, weak, tired, just trying to keep it together every single day, just trying to get through the day, keeping herself and the young children, providing theirs and her physical and emotional needs, alone in the knowledge that the way she lived and the way she was being treated was extremely hurtful and harmful, alone in the belief that there weren't adequate support services to help people like her. To help people like her to become strong enough and validated and supported emotionally, Ivory seems stuck in the same bad dream to be repeated and repeated again and again. The same characters and the same props, just the day was a different day. If any of this story sounds familiar to you, or you can identify with these scenarios, ask yourself, do you want to live like this forever? If your answer is no, what are your options? There are always options. However, when you've lived long enough in such a draining and exhausting situation, options seem to become a distant memory or concept. What someone like Ivory may need is someone to vent to express herself, someone to listen to her story with empathy, compassion and understanding and care, someone who understands the different abuse dynamics of domestic violence and what life is like living with an abusive person and a destructive person. Someone who understands that the information shared is confidential. Someone who is available to talk when she needs to express and share. Someone who can help her come up with a safety plan to keep herself safe from further abuse. This is where having a support system can be useful. There are several organisations Ivory could turn to for help. And sometimes Ivory may just need someone to listen to her, someone to listen to Ivory and someone she can turn to. Sometimes Ivory may not be looking for an immediate fix to her problems, but she may need someone to confide in, to help her deal with her pain and validate her experiences, and offer encouragement and emotional support. Make a change for the positive today. You can turn your life around for the better. Please let me know if I can help you on your journey to recovery.